said he, "and if it is the son of a king or queen, carry him in on your shoulders, if it is not, leave him there." They went out, and the stars of the son of a king were on his breast. They lifted him high on their shoulders and bore him into the king. They passed the night cheerfully, playing and drinking, with sport and with diversion, till the whiteness of the day came upon the morning. Then the young king told the cause of his journey, and he asked the queen to give him counsel and good luck, and she told him everything he was to do. "Go now," said she, "and take with you the best mare in the stable, and go to the door of rough Neil of the speckled rock, and knock, and call on him to give you news of the death of Anshgliach in the Sword of Light, and let the horse's back be to the door, and apply the spurs, and away with you." In the morning they did so, and he took the best horse from the stable and rode to the door of Neil, and turned the horse's back to the door, and demanded news of the death of Anshgliach in the Sword of Light. Then he applied the spurs, and away with him. Neil followed him hard, and, as he was passing the gate, cut the horse in two. His wife was there with a dish of puddings and flesh, and she threw it in his eyes and blinded him, and said, "Fool! Whatever kind of man it is that's mocking you, isn't that a fine condition you have got your father's horse into?" On the morning of the next day Moraha arose, and took another horse from the stable, and went again to the door of Neil, and knocked and demanded news of the death of Anshgliach in the Sword of Light, and applied the spurs to the horse and away with him. Neil followed, and as Moraha was passing, the gate cut the horse in two and took half the saddle with him, but his wife met him and threw flesh in his eyes and blinded him. On the third day, Moraha went again to the door of Neil, and Neil followed him, and as he was passing the gate, cut away the saddle from under him and the clothes from his back. Then his wife said to Neil, "The fool that's mocking you, is out yonder in the little curragh going home, and take good heed to yourself, and don't sleep one wink for 3 days." For 3 days the little curragh kept in sight, but then Neil's wife came to him and said, "Sleep as much as you want now, he is gone." He went to sleep, and there was heavy sleep on him, and Moraha went in and took hold of the sword that was on the bed at his head, and the sword thought to draw itself out of the hand of Moraha, but it failed. Then it gave a cry, and it wakened Neil, and Neil said it was a rude and rough thing to come into his house like that, and said Moraha to him, "Leave your much talking, or I will cut the head off you. Tell me the news of the death of Anshgliach." "Oh, you can have my head, but your head is no good to me. Tell me the story." "Oh," said Neil's wife, "you must get this story." "Well," said Neil, "let us sit down together till I tell this story. I thought no one would ever get it, but now it will be heard by all." The story: When I was growing up, my mother taught me the language of the birds, and when I got married, I used to be listening to their conversation, and I would be laughing, and my wife would be asking me what was the reason of my laughing, but I did not like to tell her, as women are always asking questions. We went out walking one fine morning, and the birds were arguing with one another. One of them said to another, "Why should you be comparing yourself with me, when there is not a king nor knight that does not come to look at my tree? What advantage has your tree over mine, on which there are 3 rods of magic mastery growing?" When I heard them arguing, and knew that the rods were there, I began to laugh. "Oh," asked my wife, "why are you always laughing? I believe it is at myself you are jesting, and I'll walk with you no more." "Oh, it is not about you I am laughing, it is because I understand the language of the birds." Then I had to tell her what the birds were saying to one another, and she was greatly delighted, and she asked me to go home, and she gave orders to the cook to have breakfast ready at 6 o'clock in the morning. I did not know why she was going out early, and breakfast was ready in the morning at the hour she appointed. She asked me to go out walking. I went with her. She went to the tree, and asked me to cut a rod for her. "Oh, I will not cut it. Are we not better without it? I will not leave this until I get the rod, to see if there is any good in it."